Did those New Year's resolutions not quite pan out as you had intended? Maybe there's a reason for that. Hello, my loves. Dr. Holly here. Let's talk about our intentions, shall we? So, every new year we decide to set our intentions and put them out there and declare them to the world and think that this is going to turn into major changes in behavior, different ways of thinking, different ways of doing, different ways of being. And oftentimes that doesn't happen and people wonder why. There's actually a misconception that if you declare your intention and speak it out loud, that makes it more likely to happen. Well, that's not fully true. There's actually been a study done that shows that might actually give you a false sense of feeling like you've already completed the task. Whereas coming up with the task and then getting to the endpoint, there is some work there in the middle. And needing to engage in that work is really what's missing between that kind of coming up with the task and the declaration. The declaration leads to like your mom and them saying, "Oh, that's so great, honey. I'm so glad you're going to finally lose that 5 pounds, or you're finally going to, start that pottery class you've been talking about." Whatever it may be, that kind of engagement and discussion gives you that social feedback as if you'd already done the task. Now, I myself don't usually make New Year's resolutions because it's just not how my brain works. I'm not a big fan of declaring all the things. And I just don't really I can't even parallel park in front of people. I'm just not good with that type of social pressure. But it's interesting. I have been engaging in coaching for a number of years. And recently I started engaging with a female coach and a group of women who are amazing and fabulous. And it's a different type of coaching and is serving me in a different type of way. But something different that's happening with this coaching is that it's taking my declarations or my intentions of making things happening and breaking them down into the needed steps and then the reinforcement of the social exchange. So there is a declaration, but the needed steps between the I'm coming up with an idea and here's my declaration, there's needed steps between that we often forget about when we just kind of declare it to the world and then get that kind of immediate feedback as if it was done. Those are part of what's happening. So that's worth considering how you want to get your goal to happen. We talk about SMART goals. We talk about making things into smaller pieces that are more accessible, they're measurable, they're realistic, they're time sensitive, and they're ones that we can measure in real time. So we're not trying to write that entire book, but maybe starting with a page, right? And setting those small goals and then following through on each goal. So that's where the declaration can be quite powerful. As I said, I've started engaging with an amazing coach, and I have a few things that I'm trying to get done. I'm always putting things in the fire, that's my way of being. But something that I had been wanting to do for years, since my husband got it as a benefit in his work, so at least 3 years, was join our local gym that he has as a benefit for free. So I'm like, dude, free gym, hello, free classes. I love me some Pilates. And during the pandemic, had kind of fallen off the Pilates wagon just because of the nature of the pandemic. So I was in a coaching session with this group of amazing women. And it wasn't even me being the one that was being intimately coached in the moment. It was one of my, fellow goddesses who was talking about her intentions for self-care. And she was talking about her steps towards joining the gym. And I just literally picked up my phone, texted my husband. I was like, when are we going to the gym and signing up for the gym? And he and I came up with a time right then in that moment. And we went yesterday. That was my Valentine's Day gift, was that we went to the gym. We made time in our schedules. And it's interesting. Last night I had an individual coaching session and I reported this as a done, that immediate feedback of, oh, I signed up for the gym, done. And she said, okay, so when are you going to the class? see that feedback of the immediate gratification of the declaration, I fell for that myself. And I'm a mental health professional. And my coach pointed out, hey, there's another step in this series of self-cares that you have declared for yourself. When are you signing up for the class? And I was like, oh, it's on an app. And she said, okay, let's do it. She literally had me pull out the phone, find the class. It was this morning. I had a cancellation. And so I had a free moment this morning. And so I went to the class, and then she took it a step further. She said, you send us a picture of your mat at class, so that I couldn't chicken out, because, we talk ourselves into these things, and then we start getting all serious. And then we're like, well, what if I don't have the right, equipment? And I even did that. I was like, oh, I don't know how to get a locker. Well, I reached out to a friend who goes to the same gym, and they're like, oh, you don't need to have a locker. You can just put yourself in the back of the room. If you can buy a lock if you want to, but you can also just put your stuff there, which is what I ended up doing. And I went, and it was amazing. And I feel fabulous. And here I am talking to you. And all this to say is that declaring is great. Declaring is fabulous. Declaring makes us feel good, makes us want to go get a cocktail. But the follow-through steps are where the rubber meets the road. And that's where we need to engage. That's where we need to have an accountability partner, whether it be our spouse, a best friend, a loved one, our mom. Our mom loves telling us what to do. Or if you go into formal coaching, like I've done, like a coaching group, individual coach. I've got both things set up for me, because I just, I coach people myself. And I believe if I'm going to coach people, I need to be in coaching. I mean, this is something I learned in my psychiatry training. If I'm going to be giving therapy, I need to be in therapy. Like, this is how it works. How you're able to give people your best selves is by making sure you are your best self in any given moment, and that you're taking care of yourself. And that gets back to, the boundaries that I was talking about last week. So think about what is missing between your declaration and the end point, and how can you get there? And if you need help with that, reach out to a coach. Reach out to me, darawellnessnola.com, if you need help figuring that part out. I do have weekly coaching as part of my membership. If I'm not the best fit for you, there's so many others. There's so many types of coaches of all sorts and creeds. There's also therapists. There's also, my colleagues in that world that might be helpful. Or like I said, maybe it's just your best friend. But whatever it is, reach out, get that support, grab hold of your community, and move forward together. Love you guys. Send in lots of love.